All our insurance guys do very roadside service.
Okay.
He can come out and
have them come out and start it for us. Then, if you need to, I can come down and take somebody, and we'll drive down and take the battery checked.
Yeah.
Make sure the battery's good and strong, and maybe start a routine that every week or two somebody goes over and sets in it for an hour or for a half hour.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Leave about 10:45.
Okay.
Appointment. I've got that problem.
Oh, I'm sorry, Charlie.
But it's not. It's a jaw problem. Once they should urgent care, and the Lord can't do anything here. You have to go to the dentist. So dentist.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I actually, at one point, this is going to make you laugh. I clench my teeth at night when I'm stressed, and I strained the muscle that connects my jaw, and I had to rest it. And I don't know if you've met me, but keeping me quiet for 2 weeks is torture. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. I was up last night, but I don't understand what a dentist is going to do.
Well, they can at least do more specific X-rays than the urgent care.
Okay.
The emergency room might have been able to do a panoramic.
Well, I took went to urgent care, but they got us extra. They should have been able to do something. Kind of like, nothing like it.
Yeah. That's a whole other healthcare dilemma.
Interestingly, my doctor retired, and when I called for a refill of my medication, I knew he was retired, but they said, technically, you don't have a doctor anymore. So we can't refill it.
Oh my gosh.
Doctor died. Mark Wood.
Oh. Yeah. Mark was such a blessing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are going to call the meeting to order. It is 8:34. I am recording. They got our lovely conversation about my clenched jaw and everything else. So whoever listens to that, I hope you got a giggle. We can get started. I don't see any public commenters. Okay. Well, Mr. Secretary.
The first draft of the December minutes, a couple of names were misspelled, and Karen pointed that out. They've been corrected. Initially, I just sent the minutes to Karen as a corrected minutes. And then I realized, I think it was yesterday, that maybe I should send them to everybody. I don't believe everybody has them.
So my internet died yesterday or the day before, and we couldn't get it restarted, so I didn't get to read it.
Well, it's just a matter of, I put down the lady from Planning and Zoning as Dawson, and her name is Doss. And then Steve Childers, I wrote it as Childress. And so those are the only two corrections.
Okay. So were there two sets of minutes with the special meeting? Or I guess that was all incorporated into there, wasn't it?
It's all one.
It's all in one now. I remember saying that. I'll make a motion to accept as written.
All in favor? Aye. Mr. Treasurer.
Well, I don't want to give you a new report that's on the back. It should be very back. Very top, so that side is very top. I tried to post them, but really it was just see what you see in the financial plan. There's still some work to be done. We continue that work, but on a highlight of where we see when I look through the accounts, things that we've accomplished have really been good, Karen, for you and your staff. So I think that's really good. The highlight of the year is we came out with a surplus of about $80,000, $79,000. So income exceeded expenses by about $80,000. The important thing also is that we knew when we wrote our budget that we had $100,000 shortfall because of the new building, so we were taking $100,000 out of our bank account, or reserves, as I call them. We didn't do that. So even with that, we still had $79,000. So without that, we'd have been $179,000. If we would have taken that money and directly. I'm kind of used to having two bank accounts. One's our reserve account, one's our operating account. And we would put our operating in one, and we would have transferred it from the reserves to the operating, but we didn't need to do that. So we filled it up with about an $80,000, which was good, and I think it accomplished a lot of things. I would say there's still a couple challenges that we're working on, and I know that we're trying to catch up to COAG, and hopefully our billing department's getting that. Now, those expenses we may have had related to that, they just went into our other accounts then, right? Because we would have had expenses for COAG, we just haven't filed for the revenue. So some of our expenses, maybe we'll cover. What we did do too is, and thanks to I think Vicki or our new lady, and I can't remember, Susan, I just see her and I had their name. I apologize. We did reach out to Maples, and this is our end of December financials. By next month, we will have the audited and final full year financials. The difference will be is a couple things. There's a couple accounts where we're searching to move stuff around a little bit because it went into the wrong buckets. And as we get that, we'll be able to work through it and get them into the right buckets. So, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as we get further down. So, but areas that, obviously, I did circle up at the top. One I forgot is on the general income. We did get about $72,000 in interest. That's good, but we always understand that and they go away starting next year as we spend money for the remodeling. And number two, I think interest rates are going to go the other direction, and that's not going to be good for us. So, we might lose some of that. We'd only budgeted. I guess we got in $105,000. We'd only budgeted $33,000, so we had a $72,000 surplus. So a big deal there. The other ones that I, looked at and I'm always interested in is our salaries and benefits. We did come in $131,000 under. Now some of that was people coming and going, but some of it is, I think the opportunity for us where we've hired a couple new people in the marketing and in the billing and accounting, and I know we're working on nursing, so we'll have to watch that a little closer to make sure we keep those in line, or make a budget adjustment as we move forward because, our people are very important to us. So, but 130, basically on payroll, we were 110,000 under just in payroll and so on, and the rest was benefits. On the second page on the back, you'll see the COAG about the fifth line down. That's one we really need to get addressed, where we're $80,000 short of income. I'm sure the expenses are down there because we did do that. We just need to file to get our income. Likely that will just roll into this coming year's income, and we'll have an excess income this year, but we'll have to remember that on budgeting purposes to go back and budget it so we don't. I don't want to come in next year and say, well, we got $160,000 in COAG benefit, let's budget $160,000. When really it was $80,000 from last year and $80,000 for 24 that way. The next one, I'm going to go all the way to the bottom in that capital outlay. And when I look at it, one thing I try to, as I look at these and working with the auditors and with Maples and discussions, the first half of this page is primarily what I would call operating expenses. Expenses through our dollars. It's the WIC program, it's the nursing program, it's the general program. But this bottom one, what we call capital outlay, is money that we're spending on our future. It's vehicles, it's buildings, it's furniture, it's everything to do with our future. And setting the base for going forward. So this is where we made the biggest. We used to have like 9,001, 2, 3, and 4. Being ELC equipment, building, and acquisition. And then what we've added now is 90-10, 90-20, 90-30, 90-40. And you'll notice 90-10 is vehicles. Now, under vehicles, there will be a 90-11, 90-12, 90-15. That's how we pay for it. Whether we're paying for it out of ELC money or whether we're paying for it out of general revenue money, where the money is coming from to make the payment. But obviously, you can come down there and say, in 90-10, we spent $244,000 this year on vehicles. Now, that was the partial payment on the mobile unit. It was purchase of 2 new trucks and I think 2 new vehicles, 2 new cars. That's where all of our vehicles will go. So we can see what we spent on vehicles. Equipment and furnishing, we spent $5,500. Building renovation, existing, $147,000. I think that's the glass and the signage and some of those. But these are the accounts that we're still working through the 90-10 through 90-40 to make sure everything's in the right bucket so we know where it is. But the question is, how much should we spend on the renovation of the new building? It will be very obvious because there's an account there of number 90-40. We'll see where that is. Now, underneath there, there's sub-account. Somebody says, well, where'd that money come from? Did it come from here or there? We'll be able to go on there, and it won't appear in our regular financials, but it is in our bookkeeping, the chart of accounts, where we can see exactly where it's coming from. So I think that's very important. So obviously this year, as we spend somewhere around $1 million, it's going to be very important that we get them in the right buckets and setting the framework is correct. So overall, though, I would say it was a really good year, $79,000, $80,000 revenue increase to our money, and we didn't even put the $100,000 over, so really it was about $180,000. Income was within $40,000. In first year doing a budget to be within $40,000. It's pretty good. If it would have been for COAG, we'd have been right there. And if we get that taken care of, then expenses were actually came in $120,000, which was good. Now, most of that was payroll, and I think that's an opportunity for us to not only take care of our people, but continue to expand and keep our, ensure that we have everything we need for our residents of our county. So with that, any questions?
Yes. And these are probably really fair, just because I've already addressed them to Ron in an email. And at the February 21st meeting, the DHSS gave us an overview of funding mechanisms, which included CORE. And in those minutes, it said that CORE was general revenue funds. Does that mean that is from the Missouri legislature, allocated from tax income?
We'll have to if you can send me an email with your specific question, I'll get that to the state.
All right.
I think it's federal money, so.
And the other one is 4095, the WIC income. How is that different from the WIC contract?
Explain, I'm not sure what you're asking me.
Look on profit and loss.
Well, 4095 is WIC contract. Oh,
yeah.
Right here. Oh. Okay.
It's under income.
Well, I was looking at the other forms that you sent out, and it was listed with income. Okay.
I think that is one and the same.
All right. And the last one is, which staff members are included in admin?
Vicki is a manager. I think billing is going to be put there as well. Marketing should be there, and myself.
Okay, that's what I answered. I could say. So what we looked at, the way I answered it is, and that's why I like the chart of accounts. When you go in deeper, you can see that there's an environmental, there's a nursing, there's a WIC, and what I said to Ken last night is anyone that doesn't directly fall into one of those groups would then go into administrative. So if you're not a nurse in the nursing department working, then I think there's front desk is there too, so we can see what we're spending on each area.
Would that make Callie too?
She is our immunization person, so she's also in the clinic.
Okay. That's all my questions, and I would make a motion to receive the separate financial as published.
All in favor? Aye.
I did reach out to the auditor, and I think
the email.
So it's my intent that Sharon, briefly with Susan and Vicki and yourself at that time, but at least some of us today, we want to ensure that we have it ready for audit before we turn it over to her. So we need to get this next step of making sure we're in the right accounts done before we get it to her. So if we could set ourselves a guideline by, say, the end of the month that we're complete, and that way she can begin her audit. I want to make sure she's auditing final end of year numbers where we've gotten in the current accounts.
Yeah, she's not planning on doing it April, she's putting everything that I need to get ready for that, so, so do you want to meet with Susan to see like?
Just a quick,
Okay. Yeah.
Going to go on the program report?
The environmental program, of course, those were emailed out. We don't have any concerns with that. The department directors are doing a great job. They're very motivated, and they seem to be making a very good team back there. So, trying to get things caught up and cleaned up out there.
Yeah, I'm going to be real. I'll be the one.
That's a good question. Yeah, that's where you're going.
So, well, in environmental, it looked like the way they wrote up that report, it looked like it was a hypothetical event rather than an actual event. They didn't give any facts. They didn't give any results. It wasn't cogent or specific.
Yeah, so I can visit with them again. They're very new. The person that wrote that was been only been here 7 months.
I figured.
And so I think it's just a learning experience for that person. I believe that specific instance was the Godfather's Pizza and
yeah, I thought that it was, and I knew most of the details of it. I just was wondering why they treated it as if it was a secret.
I think they sometimes are concerned about maybe confidentiality, or I think this is learning their position. So, but yeah, my understanding is from the Godfather's Pizza and that's
all right.
I thought one thing that when Ken asked me notes last night I thought was interesting is that in reality we spent about $190,000, it looks like, in payroll on the environmental, with an income coming in of $110,000. So it costs us to operate beyond expenses, which are a lot of them. About $80,000 it costs the taxpayers of the county that much to operate that department on a yearly basis, which is part of our charter. We have to operate that as part of what we have to do. The only thing we can do to offset it would be to raise fees, and I'm not recommending that because that puts an undue burden on our residents and our businesses in the city. But I think it was interesting, and I think at some point, and Ken even took a look at nursing, and nursing even costs us more to operate. There's very little revenue coming in nursing, but the payroll is less. And I think it was about $110,000, something like that. And so, I think it's important at some point that as we get done with this year, so we kind of look at what each department is costing us. That's kind of what we set that up, and how much is it costing us to operate a nursing department? For our residents, and what does it cost to do the environmental? At some point, I know we have fees on the environmental. I'm not in any shape or form recommending we raise them. But at some point, we need to be aware of what it costs us to operate those departments. So I thought those were really good questions.
Yeah, that was a great discussion because, when you think about that, why did the community vote us into existence? It's so that these services would be available here, hopefully at no cost, but if not at no cost, at minimal cost. And so they pay us through their taxes and then user fees. And so, after discussing that, it's perfect. It's a good situation. People have some skin in the game, and at the same time, you provide a service that I hope our survey will show that everybody wants it. They don't want contracted out to when I moved here, I wanted water testing. I needed water testing, and I had to go to Green County. That was a long time ago. And they just, so anyway, a lot of these things are benefits that you don't see until you have to kind of think about why is there this imbalance between our staff expense and income. Well, it's because it's a service. So I hope everybody really has
Okay, the nursing report, I did send that out as well. I also emailed out after the last meeting, it looks like there was a ladies report that was omitted from the November board session report, so I'm sure everybody to see that. And, let's see, any questions on their nursing report?
Could you explain a little bit more what the LPHA emergency response plan will address?
Yeah, I'm still learning that as well, so that's part of our SET contract. So that's the funding that we get from the state to prepare for emergencies, such as COVID, which we weren't very prepared for, or other emergency response activities in the county.
And I noticed that nursing is undergoing that, we could have an environmental issue too.
Yeah, everybody participates, even though we have nurses over that contract, the whole entire office takes part in that. So we have county or administration clerks, we have 2 nurses at the moment. We used to have our room health staff involved in that as well, but again, with staff turnover, we don't have opportunity to have them jump in on that.
Okay.
It is, yeah.
Okay.
You have to have somebody appointed over that, and so I do the zoning portion of it, and student benefits and that, but as far as attending the meetings and securing the activities, we have to assign certain people that can go and still one of the.
Yeah, at the same time. Do you read over their reports before they're published and sent to us?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just a little concerned with some of the grammar and use of words. When you call a case suspect, in my mind, suspect means household.
Yeah, so we use the language that's presented to us by CDC, so that's actually given to us by CDC and the Department of Health, so that's when we use kind of
Okay.
Yeah, we don't make those up. So I did have a question for you as well, Ken. At the last meeting, you had stated that you were going to send me an email as to what you would like to see in the nursing board report, and so I didn't receive that email, but I just went into the board minutes and see where you had asked for our nursing department to provide information on cases and two categories of reported under investigation confirmed. Would you mind sending an email to me with exactly what you'd like to see, so that I can send that to our nursing department? I passed that along to them, but they were a little confused. But I have no idea. They got the same information needs, and I don't know.
Yeah, and on the report, I noticed that Chlamydia, gonorrhea, and Hep C were reported, but it doesn't say whether they were confirmed or just identified.
Sure, yeah, give them, so you know what you want to see changed. I make sure that we're in the survey.
Okay.
Any other questions on this? No? Okay. So this report, and I sent that out as well, so were there any questions on that one?
Do you know if we keep any data on what percentage of participants are breastfeeding at 12 months? That little blurb at the top there. Yeah.
Okay, so I can ask them. I think that would probably be in some of their reports. So again, you wanted to know what percent of participants versus breastfeeding at home? Are you wanting to know each report, or do you just want that at one time?
Well, it could be an annual. It's just once a year. Because it's not going to change. Mark has significantly. I just wonder how the numbers that they quoted look like they were quoting just a snapshot in time, as opposed to.
And then I probably was reporting by the month because that's how their report was just because it's set up. So are you wanting January 1st report, a December report? What are you looking for?
Probably good January in order to close out the preceding year.
Okay.
And it looks like the WIC program has that as a goal.
Yeah, but I think they are tracking that on the back side. I just going to have to ask them to see if they can track that as really simple. So, I also had requested since the last meeting was also with the department, from the service down, with administration, to discuss our contract, and since we do have to assign such a large amount that I'm not able to give approval for, I did ask if we could put that back on the agenda to discuss, so what the legal board like to do with our contract for that large increment.
I'll make a motion. I think okay. I'd make a motion that we go ahead and collect the information on all in-kind expenses here and forward that to DHS, to WIC, in order to make sure that if there's money available, we can be reimbursed for that. Because I think it was $68,000.
$66? Yeah, some change.
That makes sense now. Second that. Was half listening and half reading.
Yeah, so again, please explain to me, we do want to move forward with the contract, correct?
Yes.
And so we are going to spend the in-kind money and hopefully get that back.
Yeah.
Correct? Okay.
We do not want to cut surplus.
Okay, perfect. That's all I think we just did that. I know.
Just all in favor? Everybody's in favor.
Yeah, so that will be tracked on the back side because it's actually broken down with the one portion for in-kind money. So whenever we spend money, and some of it could potentially be salary, it's going to be other purchases, it's going to be expense of the health department, heating, all of the electrical, water, those kind of things. So that's where most of the expenses are going to come from. Marketing, I just sent out the first report there, so we do have our new marketing person. And any questions on this report?
I thought it was very well done. Very excited to see the progress and the direction we're heading. I think all of it's very good. And I think that particularly, I want to make sure that the last comment about the mobile unit we continue, I mean, that needs to be a big emphasis on it. And obviously, there's lots of things people working on. Good to see we reached out to Sparta and we're trying to get in there. We just need to keep that moving forward.
Yeah, it helps to have that extra person able to do those things. So he's done a really nice job. If you've checked out our website just recently, he's made it easier to find things. He's starting to add more board meeting information on there as well. So keep looking and doing a great job.
I saw what was stated in his resume, so to speak. Is his background, though, like computer science or journalism or?
I have to look back at his.
The reason I ask is his grammar doesn't match journalism. He refers to himself in third person and then signs the letter. He uses plural verbs or singular verbs when it's a plural. You're not a journalist.
Any other questions on marketing?
I don't have any.
No, it's obvious that he's doing a lot of stuff. He's a techie guy.
Yeah.
He's writing like a techie guy.
He texted in with me quite frequently. If you see anything you need to do different, please let me know. He's very willing to do what we need.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll just send you a separate note about what in his report that I he edited.
Okay.
It's not changed. It's just, in the future. He used the word in lieu of. Well, that means instead of. In lieu of his position being new. That's not, doesn't make sense.
AI can help with that too. Get ourselves a little Grammarly subscription. Yeah. It makes my writing tons better because all of us youngins just grew up on Word going, did you mean question mark? And then you click, yes I did.
More of you all want to get together and send me whatever you would like to do. I feel like these little individual things that I'm being requested to do, it is adding extra work to us. So I want to make sure all the board members are okay with all of these changes. So
it just maybe like a general note would be to review or use available resources to ensure grammatically correct information.
Okay.
I think we are going to the board. Because they're not journalists.
Yeah.
And how everything is written. And we can't really expect Karen to be an editor. These are their reports. And we should be able to check out the box and say, we know what they mean.
Yeah, but I think at the same time, it is part of their performance. And if we're evaluating their performance or we're...
If it's public facing. How about that?
Well, that's better.
Yeah. But like in a report to us, that's not public facing. If it's on the website, it needs to be, So just, I can work with you on, or with him even directly on some resources that would be available. So Grammarly's $12. It's amazing.
Grammarly is wonderful.
I know.
It isn't always correct.
Well, the thing about grammar is it's not always correct, right? It depends on whose rules you're playing by. I do actually enjoy if you've ever done like a chat GPT and it tells you something and then Grammarly tells you that the other computer software is wrong and you just fight back and forth and you're like, frequently. Yeah.
Do you want to send a request to me?
Yeah. I literally have it like right here. It says check my text. I know, it's very helpful. They may have an enterprise account. Make everything polished and pretty.
Alright, we're supposed to have this training on billing for Susan today, but because of my we had her scheduled last January 29th, so she's gathered everything up. I think she's ready to build the back bills that we've had for October, November, and December, and by that point she should be ready to almost till January. So she's going to get that one caught up for us. She's been working with Naples properties too, trying to figure out what they're needing from us and trying to get checks and all that quarterly for us. Today, that's great. I worked on actually the EFT billing. I got that caught up for us. I worked on the set billing. And the set billing I just completed last week, so we should probably do that on our next billing report, financial report. And then I also worked on the CCHC, so it's been very helpful for me to have the billing person come. I'm going to still tackle that COAD billing by myself, but I don't think it'll take too long as long as I have time to finish that. So Susan's going to move forward with the WIP billing new year. Now that we have NCH caught up, that should be fairly simple for her to communicate forward. And then same thing, she helped me with the last month of that. So she's learning on it, doing a great job, and it's been very beneficial for helping us try to get some of these contracts together.
I would just make a comment, Karen, kind of our last sentence. It's my understanding I will be the liaison between the Board of Trustees and Maple County under the guidance of Karen. I think she is I think her position is to ensure that all bills are coded correctly and that we are current and up to date in the submissions of contracts and fulfillment of our contracts. Not necessarily, it's not between the board and Maples, it's between the health department. It's ensuring that the health department has, I'm not good at words, I'm not a wordsmith, I'm a number guy, but her responsibility is to ensure that our billings are accurate and timely and into the right accounts, and that all of our contracts are being fulfilled, and billed correctly. I don't really expect her to necessarily make the contract. That's up to the WIC department to write their own contract, but once it's there, her job, and maybe I'm wrong, but her job is to ensure once the contract is in effect that we are fulfilling, or we are achieving that contract. We're getting our funds back. We're properly providing them the information in a timely manner.
Yeah, I agree with that. I actually am the one that helps to make sure contracts are push through, and then, I'll work with some of that.
So it's not so much that May's on the board, it's really the health department working with Maple, working with our contract partners to ensure that we are doing it both correctly, legally, and financially correctly.
She's actually able to get on the QuickBooks work the other day and try to find some information. We didn't know if the bill was paid or not, so it's helpful for her to be able to get here. But I took the back, and I have access, I just didn't know how to.
That's why I wanted to print 9010. I see that. I wanted to print 9010, those accounts that we were talking about earlier, to make sure we have everything in the right account.
Yeah, and she can do that for us down where happens on the nickel, so, yeah, that's great. That's all I have on the billing.
Administrative report?
Yes, and the report is sent out. Ask, is there any questions on that?
I didn't have any.
We have our nursing staff and then our nurse staff as well to do that.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Either or.
It is, it's a combination of both. It depends on who's not busy at the time. And some of our desk staff, she's done probably 8 or 9 staff members trained on that.
Oh.
So yeah.
Spread out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mostly half. Okay, so I have the newest project for has submitted a resignation copy. And so she decided that being a clerical staff member is not for her. So she did come here for the job. It's 19 years. And so it was a little bit different for her as far as multitasking. So she did keep her foot in the door to a lot of jobs. She plans on going back there. So we're glad she was over. I would like to ask if you can go ahead and look for her position and start interviewing and fill that one. Definitely need a position.
And who is that?
Melanie. She's done a great job. I think she was too hard on herself, but going from a job where you had freedom, where you could do what you wanted to do, to a product where you're more or less there all the time, multitasking, where you could before work at your own pace, where you can't really do that here. I get it. So I don't know if I could do that job myself. So it takes a special multitask.
Yeah, I made the impression that we go ahead and fill that job.
I think the last thing she's right here for me, but she's done a nice job when she's here, so we do a lot reading to try and work with her to see if she would give her one-on-one treatment. And she's still finding out this really wasn't what I was expecting. It's a lot busier than what she thought.
Second.
Wrong budgeted, and we're all in favor.
I look over there, they're kind of going.
Yeah. Break.
So where's that leave us now? Just to make sure we're fully staffed except for that position?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yes, so hopefully we will accept the game.
Have you heard anything about now how we doing well with this job?
I don't. I can't comment on that. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, is he looking for a job? Because things may be convenient to fall into place there. Do you have any?
Let's move on.
Okay.
But that's not, that's not part of our business. No, that should reorganize your time, yeah.
Okay, let's see. Okay, so the next thing was I emailed out the information as far as visibility for the administrators, roles and responsibilities. And so I actually printed a copy too because I felt that after 11, actually because of the 11 activity that I've completed so far. So I just wanted clarification from the board. Please let me know. Which activities you feel maybe have met that requirement, and how many more of these meetings before you are to, and if I need to go to more, please provide me with better direction on which meetings I specifically might need to go to finish operating.
Thank you, listed 10 here.
And the expectation was for 6? Yeah.
I actually missed it. I think there's 11 there on that one that I just printed for you. Oh, if I added the one where it was in the city administrator.
That was the only one even before that I was thinking of.
I just thought maybe that this morning was the one. I don't like to see them. I'm learning a lot when I'm out in the community. And a lot of partnerships at the list.
Well, I think networking with the community is part of your job as the administrator. I just don't know that we need it recorded because we've checked that box. Does that seem reasonable?
Well, out of the 10 that I got, I would only make 3 of them as qualifying for the intention of the goal. The intention of the goal was, as you noted, even in the first encounter at Frameworks, they said, the health department seems to fly under the radar and operate out of secrecy. The fact that you go to these and allow them to interact with you is paramount. That's exactly the intent there. We don't want the health department, especially our public person, to look like they're a closed door person who hides in a closet and doesn't ever peek out. So the only 3 that I saw that actually qualified for gaining some information was the Scramblers event, the Democratic Club event, and the Rotary Club. The others, I think you would have gone to them anyway, even without this role. These are things that you should be doing. The groundbreaking, the fall picnic for the OTC, the Christmas parade. Those are not things that are meeting a goal of getting to know the population better, getting to know their opinions.
I wholeheartedly disagree. I think going out and meeting the people where they stand regardless of organizational setting is above and beyond what an administrator would typically be required to do in this role. And a lot of those are activities that happen. Well, I mean, I did expect her to go out, and she's done that and documented it and proven it to us.
I agree with Leah. I think she's really gone above and beyond with what she's done.
And I would like to see it continue. Yeah, like this isn't an end to reaching out.
Maybe do a chamber thing, but to require a full-time position plus not I don't think it's right.
I put in numerous hours here.
Yeah.
On the day, but on the night, on the weekends, on holidays. So, I don't mind you do that on top, but I need to know before where do I stand here for these goals and objectives that were given to me.
You're a goal setter and an achiever. Yeah. Achievement is part of your, and you want to know that you've met that. And to me, I feel like the point of encouraging engagement was the point of the goal, community engagement, and I don't have an issue.
Some of those things before, like the thing at Nixon, or I wouldn't have expected like the price to be on here, because I think that was just something that we did.
But even that, it gives exposure.
Yeah.
And in my mind, the reason that we're perceived as being flying under the radar is because people have no interest. It's not that we're made feel anything.
So I think, again, this is another thing about caring about the goals, but the comment you made about, people taking an interest. I think part of that is that how well we tell our stories so people do start taking an interest. I think the website will help. I think some of these outreaches we do with the mobile unit will help that. And I understand both sides of what Ken and Karen are saying. I think I think Karen is going out and doing more outreach, which I think is important and it's good. I think what Ken is saying is we need to go, not necessarily go to the ones we're comfortable at, go to the ones maybe some that we're uncomfortable at, and go to the ones that may be more challenging because, you know, if we only speak to the people that we're comfortable with, it's difficult. And so I applaud Karen in documenting the ones she's done and went further. As Leah said, I would challenge us, you know, to challenge the group to be more outgoing to organizations and to continue this and to continue it. And not only the ones we're comfortable with, but the ones maybe we're somewhat uncomfortable with.
Where I'm coming from, I think, is that we're a small department. We've had to wear a lot of hats. And Karen, frankly, outreach specialty is typically not solely an administrative role. It's a position where you have people dedicated to that function. And she's done a wonderful job taking care of this whole building and staffing and training and regulations and done those outreach things like we've asked. And we now have somebody in a position for outreach specifically. And I don't feel like it's a good use of Karen's energy to have to continue that documentation process. Like we've got people for that now.
But I do think she's going to be part of that.
I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying we've met that mark so we can.
But this was a performance evaluation of Karen, not the health department.
Well, but Karen administrates the health department, so that's a function.
But it was an individual performance evaluation, and that's why I felt that the goal was not completely fulfilled by the listed activities. I'm just one person in this 5-person group.
So how do we resolve that for Karen's direction? What's the proposal?
Well, I think she's done a pretty good job, and
do we need to make a motion for the minutes that we?
But again, I can't on one person.
So do we need a motion for that to be in the minutes that we've reviewed this documentation and as of this time for the 2023-2024 evaluation period, we consider this criteria met?
I do know this is we're continuing to go out, but you know, where does it stand now and if I'm not doing what it's supposed to, I need better guidance and direction from the board, and I need those consistent words telling me instead of one or two people.
I just think we need to have a clear statement of this and the vote.
And that would be up to us with the next evaluation to clarify what we want, but I think for what we've done and what Karen has done here.
The only comment I would make is, you know, if you know the demographics and the political outlay of the community, are you dedicating the majority of your outreach to the groups, the majority groups in the community? For instance, you know, I'm just speaking from one that I know of, and that is Republicans represent 75% of Christian County.
But from the health department standpoint, they are non-partisan, and so they're not really like one, so it's different.
I was going to say, I imagine there were some Republicans at the Christmas parade.
That's not the point. You know, there are different values in different groups, and so, you know, if you understand the demographics and you feel and you're going out and encountering the majority, and all of them, but, you know, at least significantly the majority, you're satisfying the need for the community.
To me, it sounds like you are walking around the idea that you would like her specifically to reach out to a Republican organization.
More people with traditional values. You know.
I don't know that it's fair to require Karen to direct her outreach to that specification.
And so you want to put the health department is here to serve all.
Yeah. I think that crosses the line into politics and
For the Democrats. party meeting you went to?
I guess I don't understand, but we're trying to go to political parties and incidents.
Because those are the people who have an opinion. Those are the people who are your critics.
Everybody has an opinion. I mean, everybody's opinion matters to them.
I'm not going to push this any further. I'm just saying that, when you have, when most of the people are church going and you don't go to that group, you're missing out on information you should know.
I think we've heard that.
In here we see she's got one Republican and one Democrat.
Well, but even at that is the point of Karen, and it's outreach based, and she was there even in a social environment to create a positive relationship with her in the health department. I don't see how that doesn't satisfy it.
Especially it wasn't in your original report on the Scramblers event, but in here, when you made those comments about what they told you.
I made those comments at the first of the meeting, verbal meeting. It just wasn't put in the meeting minutes.
I'll go back and listen to the audio, but I don't remember that.
So back to Leah's comment, I would make a motion that we do accept that the administrator has met and achieved this goal. I'm trying to work on the language in my language. I'm listening here. We continue to challenge her to reach out to all organizations, I don't know the right word there, but to continue to reach out to our community to
positively represent the health department to a variety of people.
Correct. Variety of people paying that share.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Yes. Okay.
He wants to read.
So that the board has reviewed the points where the board member is in her performance review that she has achieved the meeting with the public, the 6 meetings, and she has achieved that for this year. And that we continue to ask the administrator to reach out and continue the outreach to,
a variety of people in the community.
I would like to amend that. I'm not going to word that. The administrator has met the letter of the
goal as written.
Of the goal.
The goal as written.
Has met the standards of the goal as written, and that they're being encouraged that
continued outreach.
We don't have to say the various groups within Christian County.
I think that's a great.
I think that's right. In agreement with that?
All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Aye.
Thank you. This will help me focus on other goals. Okay, so I have the community survey for broader population. We're bringing up a strong here.
So I have been working some with Robert. He's such a nice guy. He did give me an estimated time to completion. Typically, it takes about a month to draft the survey and about 4 months to implement it to the point that they have results. And I actually kind of wanted to look at this too in the context of our strategic planning session. But we have to define the categories that we really want to assess and build criteria around that. So demographics, actually, I thought would go first, but he said typically those go last in the survey. And we agreed upon like an age range, gender, ethnicity, and length of residency in the county. And I thought that gave us, an idea to look at what new and established residents see as our services. We also wanted a brief understanding of what the residents feel like their needs are. as well as their awareness of the health department, access to the health department, and communication preferences. So that way we can target what we deliver in a method that is most readily accepted by our community. He also said, in light of the strategic planning session coming up, that a lot of departments benefit from if we do X, would you be more likely to do Y rating? So if we brought WIC services mobily to Sparta, would you be more likely to use that, participate? And so that's sort of a way that as we start to look at what our goals long term are, we can get guidance on what the community wants those goals to be also.
Is the survey going to be mostly, for lack of a better word, yes, no?
Some yes, no, but
then you have to read it, and you're trying to interpret what he's
it's Likert scale based, so like very likely, unlikely, not at all, not applicable.
And some of them do.
Yeah. So it'll be a variety of data sets, most of which will not be commentary. But there will be a section directing them to the board website for comments.
But you're directing them to do that.
Yeah. And then if we want, we can have a comment section in there, and they'll go through, read it, and compile it into sort of a distilled version, because we won't get to review individual results.
So they'll...
Yeah, if we choose to have it, if we choose to have an open text field. But he did also say that if you direct people to the resource, then you've integrated them into the communication more than just the survey, where you're like, I've sent my comment and there's no additional need for them to utilize commentary. They wouldn't otherwise know we have a comment box on the website. So something to consider.
Now, are you planning on including a question regarding the services that are currently offered, such as do you expect the county health department to provide individual water testing?
So that when we were talking kind of fell in the category of awareness. Were you aware that your county offered water testing? Yes, no, maybe, unsure, something along those lines. Access is, have you ever used your county for water testing? So we can kind of build those things in. But he said typically the value of a survey is not to identify a strength in a program already offered. It's to plan for future endeavors and potentially identify weaknesses that, like, if we know environmental services is a thing that we have to have, and you've used it, I've used it, I mean, that's not a thing we're going to do away with, then we only get the attention span of the survey taker for a small amount of time. Is that the question we want to ask them in like top 20 questions that we're going to get them to answer?
Well, I think
yeah.
This is the infancy of
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
I think this will help us ask better questions. But I mean, one thing I look at it, I mean, we close between 12 and 1. For a lot of people that work, that's the only time they have an over here. So should we, I'm not saying we should, don't know, but I think that's a valid.
So like, are our hours conducive to,
I mean, I think
so like that's an access related question, I would say. So that's sort of where we are in the drafting of things, but I thought as we started to plan the vision, I told Robert I'd get back to him after our strategic planning session with more ideas of the information that we need from our community.
Something you're back by June?
Oh yeah, way before that. Yeah.
2 or 3 4 months. So by mid-year we should.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping to complete the draft of the survey for review by the February meeting, and then once we get that reviewed and approved, it takes 3 to 4 months. So February, May-ish. I guess it was about one. Yeah.
I know me and Lee are the three are on the board right now, or beyond this year.
Ken and I are.
A different cycle, and Don't do it.
You're not running and you're on.
I've been on a 20,
So this is for you guys, you're down at the end of.
exhausted.
You're,
The primary reason is I have trouble hearing now, and a lot of what's said,
I know you're gonna be our engineer consultant going,
I
on this process.
told Karen, she can talk to me after I retire, particularly during.
Your skills have been so valuable. So I'm so appreciative that
I'm just,
pharmacy knowledge alone is not what's needed to run this building. Volunteer. Yeah.
I'm retired
Well,
from the board.
yeah.
But I certainly, I've had a lot of interest
Yeah.
in things that go on here, and I want to continue supporting the board and Karen. I told her, contact me anytime. So I'm a unpaid consultant.
That's called a volunteer.
That's what I'm
Unpaid consultant.
It's our view, but
Yeah.
no.
You write that off somehow as
No, I just.
services donated pro bono.
I still help the city. I've been running zoning 30-some years, but so I'm still available.
Your service has been greatly appreciated.
Thank you. You know, when I was approached by Karen's father on the board, I talked to my employer. He says, well, what do you know about health? I said, well, I've designed sewer plants, water plants, water plants, water lines, I do all kinds of things. And they said, well, you must do okay.
And 20-something years later, here you are.
That's a common misconception.
Yeah.
That you have to be a health person in order to be on the health board.
And I told Karen, the other Karen, Cindy, the same thing. You don't want a board that's just doctors.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
dentists or whatever.
Yeah.
You need a loud, you know.
And then we can rely on each other's strength.
And I are not health professionals. I got a brother that's a pharmacist. My father was a pharmacist. It's good to have health professionals on, but you need,
But a rounded board it does not make.
you know, a board of a bank, you don't want all bank presidents. And that's not true.
Right. Did anybody have additional questions about the survey progress?
I'd like to make sure it's done before you. That at least
The drafting.
the draft
Yeah.
is started.
And that's
But that will help
yeah.
in the board. I think
Yeah.
we've got our strategic planning meeting
Tomorrow.
in 2 days. Tomorrow.
Yeah. So I figured once we kind of had a more clear idea of what options for the future there are, we can target those questions to the community and get that direction back on proceeding forward. Prioritization.
I'll take credit for the next point.
It's Ron. He was very kind, and it didn't take all that long. So.
I'll make the appointment before I leave.
And I am not photogenic, so she could make that happen in 15 minutes. Power on her. I'm more like a professional, yeah. Shrug-ish.
I think Vicky might have.
I didn't see mine, so if you want to send it to me, I'd love to see it. Oh no, I haven't got mine.
So what happens to those photos now? Are we putting them online or?
Yeah, so as far as, I guess, to make a mention of what we're talking about here, the board member protocol, so thank you, Ron, for screening this. I'm not actually my question asked Ron if he is so yeah, we're planning on putting this on our website, and I'll also going to purchase the next spring. It's in our 4-year area with all board members information.
Would it be possible for us, get copies, take a copy for us?
She sent mine. I'll go double check.
And then you can,
She didn't send me mine.
yeah, you want one a different one. And then you can pick which one you would like.
I'll go back and look.
And she looked at me like I had snakes crawling out of my ears or something.
That's weird because you were there first and then I was there.
Yeah.
I think it's follow up on that whenever we call for Brian's appointment.
So, but she ended up saying, well, you know, I either help the farm.
That dumb cat. I'll just teach you.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I had to be sure.
Here's the funny thought.
I check my junk folder 3 or 4 times a day.
Oh.
And so unless it says, this is a hot baby mom for you or something like that,
Yeah.
I don't think you know.
Yeah, D. Albert.
She did not get me one.
Okay.
Because I do look at junk folder.
I don't think she sent me mine either, but I wouldn't swear to it. And I can't even log into my email, so. It's my phone. Oh, maybe it is. That's verification.
Ready for architect facility update? Okay, I don't really have any updates from our architect yet. I haven't heard from him lately. But I have been in communication with the furniture company. He came by and did a walkthrough and we went across the street to see if we have enough storage space for the old furniture, and he determined that we do. Hopefully tomorrow during the strategic planning meeting we can determine what we want to do with that furniture for sure. He's given me an option of a place maybe that would take some of the furniture if we can outright it. We'll talk about that tomorrow. We still don't have an exact date for furniture, but it's coming sometime at the end of this month or from now until then, but we're next one. So as soon as I know the date, I'll let everybody know. Right now, I don't have any more information for that.
If you're just going to give it away, a really good charity is Habitat for Humanity, and they have what they call Restore.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they take anything.
He told me they won't take, he said they won't take the big furniture, but they'll take like tables and chairs and file cabinets and things.
Well, oddly enough, I've been in contact, it wasn't on the agenda, but I've been in contact with the volunteers in medicine for Christian County. They're really sweet. And they're trying to establish a clinic location, so they may be able to take some of the,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But those are
Yeah.
two good.
When we have a shape or when they're going to take it hard, let me know how to put my trailer out here on the street.
Sure. I can do that.
Put it in a package trailer.
Okay, let's do that.
So I think the question maybe we'll decide tomorrow will be, do we want to take the time to try to sell it or do we donate it?
I think it'll be a lot of tight to insurance on it, and for no more than we'll probably get out of the heavy furniture. It might not be really worth the time.
So it may be better to, if that is the case,
My trailer is available. I've got 2 trailers actually. So, my trailers are available if you need to put it in there and transport it.
Somebody like Habitat, they will come down. They may start trips, but they do have box trucks.
I'm really excited about the Christian County, I mean, it is our county. And
right?
our
With the resource, yeah.
So we ought to,
Yeah.
Yeah, I would give them.
I'd reach out. I mean, I'd come.
I know. Yeah, actually.
We reach out to them, let them come in and see what they think.
Yeah, I can put you in contact. Nick is who I've been working with, and then I talked to their medical director.
I would make a motion that we facilitate with the Christian County
Volunteers in medicine.
Volunteers of Medicine to see what furniture they knew that, we could donate based on our upgrade that we're doing, or excess furniture we're doing.
They have a pharmacist that works throughout that's a volunteer member that handles some of their medication questions or distributions or whatever. But they said they needed outreach help, and they feel like people aren't aware of them, and then the clinic turnout is very small. So I may run their Facebook group. See if I can't canvas them up some business.
I make a motion that we, reach out to them. And
I'm happy to.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
This is the Board of Trustees hearing, so just a couple updates here. I did follow up with the craft and make sure we received the site letter. They actually were living in Texas and how they're now transferred there because one of our wants to see if they received their letters because whether they transferred. And so I called them and they said, oh, we're in Texas. And I'm like, did you happen to have your mail forwarded there? And they said, yeah. So anyway,
are they snowbirds? Do they get out of that?
Yeah. So they are working with the installer now. We have gave them the permit and then our staff's been out there trying to help them with perfect. Yeah, so I did ask him to submit the official copy to be signed for the Board of Trustees, which he's done. And then I also asked that he send us individual documentation regarding the pre-hearing visitation. This is first conference. So I do have a question for the board to try or email our board of appeals process. And I just want to ask the board if you would like to make any changes to that. A couple of concerns that we had. I was like, know this letter out, which was, this is a process that has been approved by our previous board members. There's not anything in it that says that we will send a board member out to the site. And so in order to maybe clarify if we want to send a board member out moving forward, I think we need to add that into our information so there's no surprises for the appellant and there's no surprises for our own staff because we were not aware that anybody went out. And so until the meeting occurred, me and Megan had no idea that the board even had any communication with individuals. So we just want to make sure that we're all
in the loop.
Yeah, and so I just think, again, to be on the same page, not cause any confusion or have any surprises because I don't think this family was expecting somebody to show up besides our staff. And so I don't know what the communication's on that. So
I think it's our prerogative to go out and if there's a site and the information that is provided to us as board members is not really clear, go out and see it. That I asked for permission to look at. I went to their door, asked for permission to look at the site. They hadn't been home. I wouldn't have looked at it, and he was more than happy to accommodate that. But I don't think there's anything that precludes us from going out.
Does that cause a conflict of interest for our Board of Appeals? Is the Board of Appeals? From a health department standpoint, I don't really know.
How would that be a conflict of interest? I don't benefit from that.
I don't know that in this situation it necessarily interfered and they got the outcome they were looking for. I think we were all, on board with that. But I do think that there should be coordination between board members and the department that we represent so that everybody's in the loop together. I think that if it came to it that we needed to go look at something, to put eyes on it for ourselves to make a decision, I don't think that should be restricted, but I do think it should be coordinated.
But should it have been done after the appeal came to us and then we have questions go out?
Yeah, I do think that would probably be a better process.
We had all the documentation on the appeal.
We just hadn't had the meeting.
They were terrible quality. I couldn't ascertain from that. There was no planning diagram or anything to show what was where. So,
I just didn't know how we determined who was going out. Was there coordination between the board members? Did anybody else know that you were going out there? Because they would have again, I'm just thinking of the family themselves. If you decided to go, and you decided to go, and you decided to go, how's that going to work to them from a health department standpoint?
I think there needs to be, if one of us wants to go, that's fine, but we need to coordinate with environmental. Started.
It would have been
circulation and one.
Yeah. And
I don't know if you gained more information that we didn't know. I mean, it would have been helpful for us.
I would have shared it if there had been. In the hearing, I would have shared information that nobody else had. For me, it was just, I was on planning and zoning also for 8 years, and I routinely went out and saw these sites. It was never questioned.
As far as, we just want to make sure we've got.
We're all on the same page.
Yeah.
So it was kind of
it's a communication issue. When you have concerns about the quality of the pictures, is that an opportunity for our staff to go out and or get guidance on better documentation? Like, did we miss an opportunity for coaching?
Well, the person who made
oh yeah, that's right. She was gone. Yeah.
So it wouldn't have done anything. This was one of those things where it was after the fact that 2 years had elapsed since this was done. And so,
of course, sending out a new team member to, improve upon is still training and perspective. So, look, we can't make a decision with this because of these reasons. Can you please go give us an updated picture?
I don't think it's a change in.
Yeah. It's just a request for communication.
To put it in there. Yeah, somebody would, but.
Well, and I can say that in the future, maybe it would be a good idea to grab somebody from environmental health and say, hey, can you take me out here and show me what you're talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
But, when they started out, their appeal, it was like, what the contractor caused all the problems was the pipe. Yeah. That was the contractor.
That's why it's something too.
Yeah, that changed quite radically.
I guess it's better for everybody to be on the same page.
Yeah.
How can we make that happen in the world?
Well, we discussed. That's awesome.
Survey outcome is going to be.
I don't think we need any changes, but the board member is aware, board members, all of us are aware that, it's probably best to be in tandem with, especially for environmental appeals, like whatever process it is, the subject matter expert in our team can partner with them, and we can coordinate those efforts through the health department. Because, luckily, we live in a really friendly community that, I've been held at gunpoint trying to give people their medicine. So we probably need to make sure that they're expecting us at least.
I was going to do it.
The number of times a little old lady held a shotgun up. What are you going to do with that?
I would have taken environmental, and I wouldn't have met with the owner. I would have went out with the county, the people we had here from the city, that, the planning and zoning and people like that were new, they're
neutral
just part of it in the middle. I asked one of them to go out with me and let them show it to me. I don't want the science.
Yeah.
I want, the factual people that are saying, hey, planning and zoning says this and this and this, and let the rest of it. To me, is almost better than taking either side. You get what I'm saying? And not the side.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? We have the environmental saying one thing, that there's policy that's being take the other. But I think it's a good learning experience for the board to show that we bring other people, that maybe that.
Well, and
but I thought, Ken taking it back there, I think is great because he added, was able to add stuff to it. Just need to tie it up a little. There's some things we could do.
Communication-wise.
But I think we need to change the procedure.
Yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Part of that procedure said that we had to send a letter to planning and zoning or something in there.
Communicate with planning and zoning.
They had to send us a copy that they put in the file. Recorder deed. Recorder deed.
Well, I'm still working on that because I contacted the recorder's office and they said that the form that we have is not in the correct format. And so I went over to planning and zoning last week and asked if they need help me because they file things. And so there's a specific format that has to be in.
Well, we need to find that because they cannot start until that letter's over.
That should have given that to us from the get-go.
Yeah.
The letter has already been, it's going to be on file here and it's already going to be, it's already been sent to the family, so it's done. The courthouse is not certain that it has to be filed there, or at least in that manner. So, I have the information and maybe I can share it with you.
Bureaucracy.
end here.
Yeah, he was with,
Tim, yes, and he's Austin.
yeah.
He said, get in touch with us. So that kind of stuff out all the time.
Yeah, and that's what I've done. So now I'm at the point where the weather happening.
There's been some delays.
Yeah, and so I've made contact with the courthouse, and so she's like, I'm not sure that you can document this here. And then she sent me the stuff, and so I was kind of foreign to me, but to get next door, and then she sent an email to me. So I took it home with me, and I found out there's an email in her car. So, you know, I can go back over there today and try to get an email.
Yeah.
We didn't need stuff.
Yeah. I'm happy to.
I can share that information with you. Have you done stuff like that before?
No, but I fly on my feet pretty well.
Yeah, so anyway, she was a little confused. So this is just a letter that what the recording office said. And so I'm like, okay, let me see what else I can find out. So it's being worked on.
So
you look forward to updates.
With Jeremy and now.
Oh, yeah.
And they're very, very helpful.
Yeah, so I will see where I can get with them, and if I can't get anywhere, I'll get with you too. But hopefully tomorrow I'll have more information.
I'll go get your email, Karen. I'm pretty persistent.
Call me.
Okay.
Your name comes up on my phone.
Okay. Oh, cool. David? Okay, more new business. Staff did not hire anything. And the board members have some discussion.
Back to the associates, the staff questions. What was the response with our action we took at the last meeting with the 3.2%?
There were 3 people that said, tell the board thank you.
Aw.
That's all.
Okay, so there wasn't complaining about, well, last year you were, they understood.
Oh, no, there was no complaints. Yeah, 3 individuals sent back an email after I said that. And then we talked about it at the staff meeting today. So there really wasn't any
Alternative.
I don't know why. Yeah, I mean,
No, I just want to make sure. I wasn't looking for the positive. I was looking more were they upset because what we had done the year before.
Yeah. Most people don't complain about a raise. Do we have questions for discussion?
I have discussion. I'm going to be in Salt Lake City the last 2 weeks of February, which will include our board meeting. I'm going to be babysitting for our Alaskan grandchildren while their mother goes out for some paragliding training. I don't know why Salt Lake City in February, but anyway. So, and then also, an architect in the facility and whatnot, if there's a future meeting with the architect, please invite me to come. I'll be glad to sit in on that.
Translate if we look blankly.
Interpretation has a different line.
Oh, absolutely.
And so, yeah, if they say something that's very over their head, and I understand it, and I mean, you guys can actually what does that mean?
Yeah. I'm good at that, Charlie.
I somewhat feel that this project is stagnating, and I'm not really sure why. The architect, it's just, we've been at it for a year and a half now, and really 6 months waiting for a bid. Well, there's something going on with the lot. I mean, maybe that's normal. I don't know.
I do think the involvement with the city was a benefit, but a speed bump. Like, I'm glad we were able to work together, but it did take some extra effort.
I guess I'd like to see if there's a way we could somehow get this
moving quickly.
Like from last month to this month.
Nothing.
Or the month before this month.
I assume they're still working on the issue with the residents on the corner here. But I don't know what kind of setback. That changes the whole plan if they have it. But 27 feet is what they were saying. Remember where that comes from? First, but it was much bigger than what they were expecting.
Yeah.
I guess I would, like to see if we could start getting truly monthly updates from the architect regarding where we're at.
I can reach out
That's a
to him.
reasonable request.
Yeah.
I can reach out to him on today and let him know the strategic planning meeting tomorrow, if he could make it, is that okay?
I would welcome him. Is it something you guys feel like? I don't know that it's maybe.
Not for comment
Yeah.
or discussion,
Yeah.
or listen in the background, I would have no trouble, but I mean.
I don't know if that's what they would want to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing's not explained to him, but
It may not be beneficial for his time. Yeah.
I can let him know the expectation for the working would be.
To have. Yeah.
And
Even if he just keeps us in the loop a little, we would appreciate that. Anybody else?
I have one thing here. I'm sorry that this is rather old, but during the staff appreciation dinner, I was sitting next to Vicki Olin, and she told me that she had recently been to some form of training that was informed that Missouri was dead last in health statistics for the United States. I responded to her that I knew that we were comparatively low on funding health topics, but maybe the last in rank was not exactly, maybe she didn't understand. I may have misunderstood what she said, but in my research, I found that the United Health Foundation ranks Missouri 39 out of 51. U.S. News and World Report, same thing. And I went down through all the various things from public growth to public health to economic opportunity, and none of them were in dead last. And so I'm just wondering how she got the impression that we were last. And
I've never,
if that would be
never had any question, I don't know.
or if that was even what they meant.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know, how would you like to address that?
well, I don't know. We don't need to address it. It's just something, keep it here to the ground. If that kind of statistic is kicked around, I think we need to say.
I don't even know if she would recall it, but you have to, clarify it.
There is some kind of training we went to.
And maybe it's a statistic she still has reported on a slide or something. I keep my slide decks visually, so.
It's just,
Interesting.
Okay, so tell me what again, the discrepancy is here of.
Missouri's not dead last in anything. It's, our worst is obesity.
pretty much would have been right about where I would have thought.
We're number 10 in the United States for obesity.
Usually Arkansas leads up for.
In that.
And
Usually Arkansas is pretty much close to
it really doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I'm just, it's a board question to comment.
Mm-hmm.
And so let me know if you'd like me to do something.
Yeah, I'm hearing more like that, and I'll be sure to. And so I just wanted to give these statistics to everybody, so that if anybody mentions that to you, you can say, well, wait a second.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Never heard that.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Are we ready to adjourn? 10 o'clock on the dot?
Actually, well, it's up to the chief.
10 o'clock on the dot. Yeah.
Soon enough to be here.
Yes.